Welcome to Unit 6 of the Lay Pastors Ministry Equipping Seminar entitled Being Precedes Doing. In this segment, Dr. Steinbronn will discuss the importance of who we are as ministers and how that affects what we do.
The title of this unit may be a little surprising, and you might have to think about it for a while before it makes real sense. Being precedes doing. And that just plainly means that what we are in ministry is more important than what we do. We need to be equipped on two levels. One is on our being, what we are, and the other is on our doing, what we do. Just that simple. Being focuses on what we are, and doing focuses on what we are doing. Here's some examples and quotations on the priority of being. One is a statement, success in marriage is not so much finding the right person as in being the right person. Have you ever thought about that? Success in marriage is not so much finding the right person as being the right person. And the same is true in marriage. It's not so much finding the right thing to do, but it's becoming the right person that we are to be. But a second thought on that comes from a person who said, God is more concerned about your relationship with Him than your ministry for Him. So you see why we make the statement that being is more important than doing. Being precedes doing in priority, because God is more interested in our relationship with Him than our ministry for Him. We might say that God is a little tricky in His principles because He knows that if our relationship with Him is good, that we're going to be performing in the way that we should. We need to ask God to regularly help us be. And I have found in my own prayer life more and more through the years that I have prayed to God asking Him to make me a loving person rather than just give me the ability to love somebody. We can usually love somebody if we can push the right button, and that's what will come out. But what we need to be is to be a loving person. And I found myself praying just that so much. We need to ask God to help us be a patient person rather than just to show patience. If we push the patient button, we can be patient for a while, but we want to be patient people. We need to ask God to make us a compassionate person rather than just to have compassion. We need to ask God to give us a servant spirit, to make us really servants rather than just help us to serve people, because again, we can push the right button and we find we can do some things for some people, but we want to be a servant. We need to ask God to help us to be a generous person rather than to just help us to give more at times. Jesus is our model for this. He was truly a servant. He was not merely performing a servant's task when He washed His disciples' feet. He was a serving person. He was a loving person. And it's demonstrated in just what He did. So that's what came out from Him rather than something that He had to somehow or other get Himself to do. This is so essential in taking care of God's people, in tending the flock, in being a shepherd of God's people. A synonym for being, that is for what we are, is the word integrity. And I'm indebted to Alistair Campbell in his book Rediscovering Pastoral Care for these thoughts on integrity. Integrity is to be incapable of compromising that which we believe to be true. Integrity is to have a kind of inner strength which prevents us from bending to the influence of what is thought expedient or fashionable or calculated to win praise. Integrity is to be consistent and utterly trustworthy because of constancy of purpose. How we want to be people of integrity, the more of these points I lift up here. The fourth is integrity consists of loyalty to an inner truth which cannot be denied whatever the cost. We can see that Jesus fulfilled the qualities of integrity. And then finally, integrity is an inner steadfastness and an outward honesty, and suggests a wholeness upon which such consistency is found. So how important it is to be what God wants us to be, to let His Spirit work on us in all that we are and in all that we do. So being precedes doing in a real way.